Porridge is the most comforting breakfast favorites among the Chinese. To make porridge is easy, but to make a really good porridge is another story. In this video, I'll show you what are the ingredients you should use to make Cantonese style Chinese porridge to get a symphony of flavor that in perfect balance. And I'll also show you the correct method of preparation of some of these ingredients before you dump everything into the pot and start simmering. I'm KP Kwan. Thanks for joining me. Here is about 250 grams of rice that has been washed twice because I want it to be clean, but I do not want to wash away the starch. I try to retain the starch as much as possible so that the porridge will be silky, smooth and thick. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and a teaspoon of salt. Then I mix it together. And I'll put it in the freezer for a few hours. Next is the ginger. And I want to cut it very thin. And then put it down, cut again into fine strips. Cut the scallion into short strips, about 2 mm, 3 mm, like this. After cutting the scallions, keep it in a bowl and add some light soy sauce into it. Marinate the scallion so that it becomes very flavorful. Salted egg. This is still raw. Boil it just like making hard-boiled egg. After it is hardened, it's boiled, cut it into small pieces and put it on top of the porridge and serve. And the other one, it is the century egg. It's actually a kind of preserved egg. For this one, you have to cut it into smaller pieces, like that. But be very gentle because it is pretty soft. Cut it into smaller pieces and use half of it to cook together with the porridge. So keep half of it and only add to the porridge when it is about to complete. The most popular cuts of pork we use is pork loin like this. Cut into large chunks. About 2 centimeters thick, and put it into a container. Add 2 teaspoons of salt. It looks like there's plenty of salt, but not to worry. What we want is to marinate it, and we're going to wash away the salt later. Also a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And we combine the oil, the salt and the pot together. Marinate it for at least 6 hours. And the better, if you have time, marinate it overnight. Now let's take a look at the Chinese lettuce. Some people would prefer to add the lettuce into the porridge, some do not. But I personally prefer to add the lettuce into the porridge because there isn't any green, there isn't any vegetables in the porridge dish. So let me show you how to do it. Get the Chinese lettuce, cut into strips. And then you take these strips of lettuce, into a colander, or in this case I'll put it into my wire mesh strainer. Add about half a teaspoon of salt. Combine it. The salt will help to draw out the water from the lettuce, and at the same time helps to flavor the lettuce too. So what I'm going to do is I'll just leave it aside for half an hour. Let the water drain away from the lettuce. Half an hour has gone, and you can see that there are some water down here, but I want to make it a little bit even drier, so I use my clean hand to just give it a squeeze. Okay, this is now ready to be used to serve along with the porridge. The next step is to give a pre-treatment to the pork. Put the pork into the boiling water, blanch it for a few seconds, 10 or 20 seconds. It serves two purposes. First, it removes any blood and impurity of the pork. Secondly, it helps to rinse off any excess salt. We use it to marinate the pork. Okay. We have about 3.5 liters of water. And how much water is supposed to be? It is about 12 to 15 times of the weight of the rice. Since I have about 250 grams of rice, so about 15 times is about 3.5 liters of boiling water. Once it brings to a boil, we'll put back the pork that we have blanched into it. Now, put it inside. Once you put the rice into the water, turn to high heat and keep stirring. This is important because it will help to prevent the rice from sticking to the bottom of the pot. Add half of the century egg that we have cut just now into it. We need to hard boil the salted egg, so what I'm going to do is I'll just leave it inside to hard boil it. And we have some ginger that we have cut into fine julienne earlier, and put some inside too. Leave the other half for garnish. Once the porridge is bring to a boil again, reduce the heat and let it simmer. You can close the lid and leave a small little gap. From time to time, take a look of it and give it a stir so that it will not stick to the bottom. And I would like to show you how the rice looks like after some time. So can you see the rice? It is not fully disintegrated, but it starts to burst open. It has been like slightly more than 10 minutes. It's getting thicker and the color is become more opaque and more homogeneous. And if you look at the rice, I scoop up and show you, the rice starts to disintegrate, but it's not quite done yet. But now I want to remove the pork. By now it should have been fully cooked. Now let's take a look. This is the final consistency of the Cantonese style porridge that I want. There's no longer two layers. It is all mixed together as one, and all the rice has opened up. The texture is really thick and homogeneous. So once you reach this consistency, it is time for you to switch off your stove, and we'll then move on to the next step. We put the salted duck egg in the porridge and hard boil it. This is one of them. I have removed the shell. And the other one I have cut into small pieces and put it back and mixed with the porridge. This one I will not, but put it on top of the porridge for garnishing. So that's how it looks like. You can cut it into smaller pieces. one we have taken it out from the porridge. Now it's already cold. So what we're going to do now is use your clean hand to pull it apart and shred it into small pieces. I've finished shredding all the pork. Time for us to assemble the whole bowl of porridge. Lettuce at the bottom. So why we put it at the bottom but not on top is because this is basically raw and it's cold. We pour the hot porridge on top of it. The lean pork, some salted egg, some century eggs, the marinated scallion, which is quite salty but it's really nice, some ginger that we have it earlier, and finally with a dash of white pepper. And if you want, top with some freshly chopped scallion. And here you go, Cantonese style lean pork and century egg porridge, and I hope you enjoy it.